So it was definitely a thought in my brain that, wow, maybe if I kept going with this, if I put more effort into learning how to grow, if I actually create more valuable content, like the ceiling doesn't exist for this. Let's see how far I can take this.
Welcome to the Influencer Income Show, the only show on social media that teaches you how to become an influencer by hearing from those at the top of the game. I'm your host, Danny Dobrzansky, known around the internet and social media as Cooking in the Yard. And I'm super excited for our show today. We have an awesome travel blogger with tons of great information to share. Rachel from Rachel's Travel Book. Thank you so much for being with us today. Looking forward to talking with you.
Hi, Danny. Thank you for inviting me. This is super awesome. I can't wait to share what I have.
Oh, that's great. Absolutely. Thanks for being here. So let's just dive right in. Could you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey on social media thus far?
Absolutely. My name is Rachel, and I'm from Southern California. And where this all kind of started is that growing up as a Gen Z person, I was always kind of inclined to make social media videos, whether I posted them or not. I really liked editing. I liked capturing the world around me. I was always taking photographs when I went on family vacation, but I never really had anything to do with those. And it all started when, as part of my college program, my undergraduate college program, I decided to take a semester abroad and go to Madrid, Spain to study Spanish. And on the plane ride there, I decided, hey, why not make a travel account out of this, share what I'm doing with my friends and family, and also maybe see where it takes me. And it's just been a crazy wild ride since, initially starting off with just telling people what my culture shocks were, how life was, and then growing my following, and now finding a way to make a business out of this, teach others how to become their own travel creator, and just learn from my previous experiences.
That's fantastic. It all started, sounds like, very organically. Show off to the friends and family and kind of let them see what you're up to. And then it kind of caught fire from there, it sounds like. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What was that like, when you started to gain some steam and then you started to realize that light bulb kind of went off like, oh, this might be actually a business opportunity here for me?
Absolutely. I would say it started with a while back before I had started my travel account. I started taking notes of accounts that I saw on Instagram and I said, hey, this doesn't seem that hard, which is such a blanket statement. I know it takes so much work and effort to become an influencer, to become a content creator. But as someone that's grown up with this, I just started taking little notes of what's working, what are people doing, what are these hooks that everyone's talking about. So when I decided to start my Instagram, I thought, why not give it a try and just start right off the bat with all these tips that I've kind of, put in my brain. And it started off slow, just people commenting, saying, hey, love to see what you're doing. A lot of people said it feels like Emily in Paris, if you've ever seen the show, just me exploring a new country. And sooner or later, about maybe even 10 to 15 days in, I had my first reel go viral that got about 1.5 million views. And that was like such a game changer. I went from probably 200 followers to about 10,000 in probably 2 weeks. And that was an insane change. I thought at the beginning of my journey, if I'm able to get 5,000 by the end of my semester here, my job is done. And suddenly I had accomplished that in 2 weeks. So it was definitely a thought in my brain that, wow, maybe if I kept going with this, if I put more effort into learning how to grow, if I actually create more valuable content, like the ceiling doesn't exist for this. Let's see how far I can take this. So as the months went on, I spent about 5 months in Spain for my semester abroad, and I came home in May. So by the end of May, I had reached about 65,000 followers, which was beyond my wildest dreams. This was never an intention, but it made me feel really happy that I had created this community that supported what I was doing and was genuinely interested in my travels and my experiences, because so many people want to travel abroad, but they're not able to. So they can kind of live through my experiences. And around that time, when I was coming back home, I thought, well, I'm not living in Spain anymore. So how am I supposed to entertain everyone? How am I supposed to keep creating content? Because I genuinely enjoy doing this and I don't want to stop. So I started shifting more into a business mindset of how can I create money for this? How can I make this more sustainable for myself and incorporate it into my normal life? Along the time when I was editing, like learning more about how to make money online, how to grow your following, I was also taking little pieces what people are doing, what other travel creators are doing to make this more of a business, actually create a full-time income, maybe even make travel their full-time job. And I've kind of taken little bits of pieces of that, tried some of my effort in some places, figured out what I like. And now that I'm back home, I'm really trying to make this, what I'm doing with my life.
That's fantastic. you said a lot there that is very, very valuable to people that are thinking about getting into social media. It's studying, understanding what's hot and what's moving at this time. And one of the things that you said that really caught my attention is that, you were looking at what other creators were doing and understanding what was making them successful and taking bits and pieces from them and putting it into yours. And if anyone is looking for advice on how to become a social media influencer slash content creator, it's that. It's that right there. Take what other people are already doing, make it your own, massage it or twist it into a way that's comfortable for you, but leaving the same trends or the same way of doing things in there that's working for them. And then, start to gain success from there and use that as a stepping stone, which it sounds like you did very well. I heard 200 followers to 10,000 followers to 65,000 followers, and you're just about at 100,000 followers right now. What does the next step look like for you? It's hard to imagine that in any stretch of the imagination, that same trajectory will continue that quickly. It may, and that would be awesome. I hope it does for you. But how are you going to keep working on growing that? And what's next for you?
I would say as the followers have sort of plateaued, given that a viral video can skyrocket you up in followers, but they might not be your most ideal follower or someone that's actually going to continue to enjoy your content. I'm really focusing on nurturing my audience, creating content that's valuable for them. And if I'm starting to increase followers that way, even if it's slow, I know that they're the people that I really want on my account and not necessarily the people that are following just because this one random video went viral. That doesn't really represent my account. So next steps for me are definitely creating a more of a tight pack community, people that want to comment, want to look forward to my next video. That's really what's more important to me than any of the numbers.
And that said, in another way, sounds like there's no shortcuts to success here. And based on what you said, Rachel, if you continue to grow your social media in that form of fashion, you will have wild success for a long time to come. There's a number of people, especially new creators in the business, that will take shortcuts and, maybe sign on with the celebrities agency that's doing a giveaway. And you have to be, you have to pay them $1,000. And then the celebrity is going to say, go follow this person to enter, or, whatever. There's a number of different schemes out there like that. Giveaways are another one, right? If it's a giveaway that doesn't fit your niche necessarily that your audience cares about, but they have to follow you, all you're going to result with is a ton of unfollows and very low engagements on social media. If you're new to the business or you want to get into the business, I would suggest rewinding what Rachel just said there. It's taking care of the followers that you have right now, understanding why they're following you, and then nurturing them in a way that is providing them with content that they want to see and also recommend to their friends, right? Because that's where great things start to happen. When somebody says to their friend, to their family member, hey, you've got to go check out Rachel. She's doing some really cool things right now, and she's giving some great travel advice, etc. That's how great things happen. So congratulations for your success and thinking about it in the way that you are. It is a business. It is a very lucrative business done correctly. And it sounds like you're off to a great start for that. So is it just Instagram at this point that you're on, or are you on multiple platforms?
I mainly focus on Instagram. That's been the platform that I set out to master. I took a dive into blogging, but it wasn't really my thing because I've never liked writing. I really like content creation, editing videos. I've heard about TikTok and how it can be very lucrative. That's also not really the platform that I choose to engage with. So honestly, Instagram has been the best for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a different group of people, a wildly different group of people for every platform that you're on. And, maybe at some point, you can move those followers to another platform if you'd like. And having a very deep connection with those followers that you have will make that very easy for you should you decide that that's the way that you want to go. Just a quick break in the show to say thank you very much for watching this week's episode of the Influencer Income Show. While we're here, please take a second to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell to be notified whenever a new show comes out so you don't miss anything. If you're up for it, I'd love to see a comment from you telling me what you think of the show or any questions you've got for your favorite creators. All done? Awesome. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the show. So with operating on Instagram solely right now, what are some ways that you're thinking about monetizing your content? Because if we're being honest, there's not a whole lot of platform revenue necessarily on Instagram. So how are you turning this into a business?
A lot of people actually ask me in my real life, they're going, "Oh my God, you're an influencer. How much money is Instagram paying you? Be honest." And I look them right in the eye and I say, $0.
Yep.
Instagram is not paying me at all. And I think a lot of platforms aren't really doing that because where it's actually coming from is from ads in your feed, maybe brands that are contacting you for sponsorships. I found success in selling digital products. And I've also taken some steps towards learning about other ones, trying out other ones. And I'm currently working on setting up a independent travel agency, becoming an independent travel advisor so that I can help people book their own travel and gain a commission off of that. And that one's more specific to my platform, my niche. And I think that that one can also help me be successful. But
Mhm.
for someone who's just trying to be any type of creator, definitely the digital products is a huge world that has so much potential for people that have great ideas and motivation. And then also the brand collaborations are really great for anyone who has more than just 1,000 followers, even.
Mhm. Absolutely. That's one of the things that what you just mentioned there, having 1,000 followers. I wish I would have started monetizing so much sooner than I did. When I was doing research on this, I started about 4 or 5 years ago. Everybody said that 10,000 followers was the magic number. And then, brands really started to care at 100,000 followers. And as I've done this more and more, I've learned that that's not the case at all. If you have good content, 1,000 followers, 2,000 followers really just shows brands that you're legit and you're a real person and that you're putting time and effort into this. But there's so much value that a content creator with good content can offer to a brand. Making
Mhm.
content for them to post solely and run ads off of is a huge moneymaker for a smaller account. It's a great way to do it. Have you done any of that thus far?
So that's actually called user generated content or UGC. I haven't dived into that because I think it's more important for me to post on my own social media. I think my brand, my personal brand is where I really find that I work well with other brands versus, just creating videos and having them posted on their own page. But for someone who has even 0 followers, you can still get into that if you have the skills to make videos. And I think that's super special because you don't have to post it on your own page. You don't have to have an amazing personal brand. But if you have the skills, anybody could do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's about making that connection, not necessarily with your follower specifically, but making the connection with the camera. And if you've got that, then you can sell lots of products going along the way. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Since you are essentially, kind of showing your life in travel form on your profile, what are some ways that you actively focus on balancing your personal life versus your social media life?
Right. I would say I never considered myself to be the typical Los Angeles influencer. I've always just been someone who likes creating videos of the world around me. So whether that's just when I go out for an errand and I see a pretty building, maybe I'll take a quick video of that for some B-roll. Or when I have free time, that's when I like to do my editing, or I'll block out time in my days so that it doesn't take up my entire day. I know that I'm no longer traveling full time, so this isn't something extremely sustainable for me to focus my efforts on since travel content doesn't really align with a life that isn't travel right now. So I have to pull from my archives, pull from the ideas that have been sitting in my notes app for many, many months. And honestly, I like to just block out maybe an hour a day and say, this is when I'm going to edit that video. Or if I just find myself having free time, I like doing it. So that's what I'm going to do with my free time. I don't find that it takes up a lot of my mental energy or my daily life because I know that I have to have that balance between real life and social media.
That makes perfect sense because you can get completely sucked in, and then your normal everyday tasks or errands that you're running or routines, if they don't turn into viral videos, right? If you're putting everything out there, it can be really defeating at times if it's just not clicking or not hitting. So kudos to you for being organized and blocking out time and staying on task with that stuff, because that is something that I hear from influencers is the hardest part of knowing that there's 100 things that have to be done, but not really knowing where to start or how to prioritize. And when there's 1,000 things that have to be done, oftentimes none of them actually happen. So
Right.
it's a good way to keep an eye on things.
And
um,
if I may add something to that, actually, I'm also a full-time college student and I work part-time. So juggling all of this with social media means I really have to block out those times and I can't spend all of it thinking about social media. something that I've taken back from my full-time travel is just sort of incorporating it into my daily life. Maybe that's just choosing one day to go out and film content, and the rest of the days of the week, I can have free to do whatever else I have to do. Maybe it's just spending one day writing out captions so that the rest of the week, I don't really have to think about my social media content. And that's been super beneficial for me.
That's awesome. And very important to be able to balance all those things. This way you're hitting all of the requirements for your life, right? You know, going to school, having a part-time job on top of that. Obviously, there's not much room for flexibility there. So I would think that, you know, not being on top of things from a social media perspective, that could very quickly slide to the bottom of the priority list and things just wouldn't get done. So kudos to you for being able to manage that.
Yeah, and sometimes it does. Sometimes my life gets hectic. I just moved apartments last week and my social media wasn't as active, but in the long run, that doesn't have to matter as much. If the content you're putting out is still quality, it doesn't have to be every single day I have to do this, even if my life is crumbling on the side.
That's right. Yeah, and that's the goal, isn't it? To not have a crumbling life because of social media. That's
impossible.
when you know you're doing something right. That's when you know it's happening, is when things aren't on fire because of your social media lack of presence at times. But you know, you're mentioning selling digital products. Can you tell us a little bit about that and the kind of how you got into that?
I would say before I even started my social media, it felt like there was this big rise of videos in my Instagram feed saying, did you know you could make $100,000 just with your phone every day? I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. I don't know if
Yeah.
there was some big boom in the digital marketing scheme that kind of infiltrated all of our accounts. And the first thing I thought was, well, gee, this sounds like a scam. I'm just going to scroll through it.
Yep.
But there was a little part in the back of my mind, the more I saw these videos, that thought, well, if everybody's saying this, they might be onto something. So I did start doing my own research. I'm a very curious person naturally. And I did start to research, what are digital products? How are these people actually doing this? Is this something that the average person can do? And since I have plans to create a travel account, is this something I can incorporate with that? What I did was I just set up an online store. I like Stan Store, which is what a lot of people prefer. It's just a monthly subscription where you can sell a digital product, which is essentially an ebook, a PDF, something on your computer that isn't physical, for an amount of money, and you make 100% of the profit. The only things that you have to pay is that monthly subscription to the website that you're selling it on, basically. So there is an unlimited ceiling for how much money you can make if you're able to scale it up, which is very enticing to the average person. So the only thing I had to do was find, what is my audience? What do they need help with, or what is their problem? And how can I solve that with some kind of digital product? And the way that I was able to find that was through my travel account. I have a lot of people who wanted to know, how do I find the growth on Instagram just like you did? How did you do this? So what I did was I solved their questions through a little ebook, and I was able to sell and market it through my account for just say $7.99, $7.99. And you know, not that much money, but the more people that say, hey, I really like how she grew her account, how did she manage to have this scale of followers in so little time, would go and purchase that. And I would keep 100% of the profit, which was really insane for someone who had never really explored making money online. So I really think that that's a great way that anybody could incorporate it into their social media, whether it's for their travel account, you know, for their food account or anything. It's super lucrative and also flexible to your account.
It's a great way to do it, to have that passive income and revenue stream. I think oftentimes in the social media world, and it doesn't matter necessarily what niche you're in, but the people who are doing the best have the most income streams. And having a digital product to where you're not putting anything in a box, you never have to go to the post office, you don't have to print any labels, it's all done automatically, and it's just there for them whenever they want to go and click buy, and then it's that instantaneous product that shows up right there for them, is a great idea. So is this just about your journey on social media, essentially the things that you did that are repeatable for other people to do?
So the first thing that I created was an Instagram growth guide, and I wrote about 30 pages of different steps, different actionable tips that I have, strategies that I used and I learned from other people to grow your Instagram account. And it was pretty flexible. You could apply any of these tips to any type of account. And that's what I help people do, whether it was using hooks, using call to actions, writing captions that are valuable, what kind of hashtags to use, how do I optimize my Instagram name? Everything that you could think of that I had personally used and found success with is what I was writing about. And people will pay for knowledge these days. Anything to fast track your growth, people will pay for. It wasn't too hard to set up. It does take a little bit of time to put effort into something that's going to be valuable, that people actually want to spend money on. But in the end, it's been very successful.
It's fantastic to have multiple revenue streams set up pre 100,000 followers, and you're almost there. You'll probably be over 100,000 by the time the show airs, but it's fantastic to be thinking about that down the road for those additional money-making ventures that are sitting there for you that you've already done the work on is fantastic. So we've heard a lot from you in this short amount of time, Rachel. We talked about how you started and balancing your personal and your social media life and all the things that you've got going on right now that you're currently juggling, getting content out there, your digital products that you're selling, which, by the way, will all be linked at influencerincomeshow.com on Rachel's page there. Go check that out. Is there anything else at this point, Rachel, that we haven't covered yet, or that you would like to promote or talk about, or maybe what's next for you, or anything that's out in the works right now?
Some things that are next for me, I'm still working on publishing lots of videos on budget travel, how to make travel easier, how to incorporate it into your life, and all of the things that I've learned from personal experience abroad, and giving it to you so that you can make your travels smarter, less money, and less effort and time, because let's be honest, nobody wants to deal with that. But additionally, I'm trying to make my account a little bit more sustainable for a life that is not full-time travel by providing creator tips for people who want to grow their Instagram, whether it's a travel-specific creator account or any other Instagram. So along with that mission, I've decided to create some other digital products. I just released a one about brand collaborations, going from A to Z, step 1 to 10 of how you can start pitching, landing contracts, brand deals, even as someone who only has about 1,000 followers, and how you can start making big money off of that. Something else that I'm focusing on is releasing a free ebook that just tells people all the different things that I've tried to make money online with my travel account, whether it was affiliate marketing, blogging, hosting group trips, brand collabs, selling digital products, going through all of those pros and cons with my personal experience and telling you what actually works so that I can turn my account not just into travel tips, but also how can you become a travel creator. And if I may mention one last thing, something I'm really working on and passionate about is creating a travel creator community, which should be launching sometime later this month. And that's where I really want to create a community for everyone who wants to be a travel creator, because that's what my specialty is. We can really help each other. Everyone can share their personal victories. I'll be launching some resources exclusive for those people that are in there, and just creating a space where we can all talk about our goals. And I think that's something really exciting and something that I would love to see some more people join. So look out for that soon.
Fantastic. And when that's up and going, you can find that as well on influencerincomeshow.com. We'll link all that there for Rachel. Her Instagram will be there. You'll be able to get to it from there as well. Rachel, thank you so much for being with us today. Shared a lot of great insights into what it's like to be a new creator and how to scale quickly, both from a growth on social media standpoint and a revenue perspective. You're off to a great start, and there's going to be much more success coming in the future for you. Absolutely no doubt about it. Go to influencerincomeshow.com. You'll be able to find all of her information there. Again, if you're not watching on YouTube, go over to the YouTube channel, check out the video interview, and then like, comment, and subscribe on that. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of the Influencer Income Show. Head on over to influencerincomeshow.com, where you'll find all the video streams of the interviews that we've done on the YouTube channel right on the website. Also, get the audio podcast on all major streaming platforms. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on all the platforms you watch and listen on. It really helps the show, and I would really appreciate it. See you next week.